Has he been actually?
I'll say
No,
this: Elon
he went
Musk is
space
building
recently.
rockets to space, while the other billionaires are building bunkers in the earth. I like Elon. I like Elon. I like the space thing. I don't
Mhm.
care if his car rusts. I don't care if it
Might just
randomly
do that.
takes off and kills people. I don't care that he exaggerates. I, even though I am on the side of killing those Russian invaders, I kind of
Mm.
like that he said, "No, I don't think I can let you use Starlink to do a whole coordinated attack on their Black Fleet." It feels like I'm Sergeant Elon all of a sudden, and I
Mhm.
didn't sign up for that. This is a telecommunications network. Like, if I do that, then what's to stop the Russians from considering my satellites legitimate war targets and me maybe a legitimate target?
Yeah, the
I don't
Russians
really
are
want to
using
do this.
Starlink now.
No. Oh, the Russians are using Starlink
They are, but I don't know details beyond that. I don't know if they're
militarily?
stolen. Yes, I don't know if they're stolen satellites on what are the freaking dishes on the ground called? Um,
Receivers?
sure, we'll call them receivers. I don't know if that's what they're called, but they maybe they took them from the Ukrainians and now they're using them for themselves. Maybe they have some bootleg device
Oh,
that
you just
gets
turn
them
that
on the
shit off.
network.
It's a subscription service.
Maybe they don't know who owns it. Is their record keeping? But apparently they're using Starlink now. It's a thing.
I'll have to look into that. I hadn't seen that. That's crazy because I thought of it as like it'd be like stealing somebody's cell phone and like, oh, the bad guys have your phone now. Now they can use it.
Yeah.
Oh man, I called Singular. Or I don't
Yeah.
know who you
It's like,
call
oh,
now.
fuck. Putin got my Hulu login. How am I going to handle this? I got to cancel it.
Let's
Easy
see
peasy.
from Forbes, trusted news source.
From Forbes.
I'm not disabling my ad blocker. I'll just choose to believe you.
Wall Street Journal says the Russians have thousands of them. Is that a better source?
I guess. Oh, I didn't. I mean, I wasn't dogging on Forbes. I don't know anything about news network.
I find Forbes to be a little
Ukrainian Lieutenant
what is the
General.
attention grabbing?
Oh, New York Post, right?
No, I was going for like their little clickbait
Tabloid?
or a little tabloid. That's better. Forbes a little bit tabloid, which is funny.
Yeah.
They had a really respected magazine, and their website just became garbage.
Garbage. Yeah, it's weird. I guess you go for what sells. If everybody's doing that buttoned up sort of, here's the news today from older white folks and how we see things. But if you get a little more sensational and a little more tabloidy, I guess it works better. Well, that's weird. Maybe I don't understand fully how Starlink works. Because I know that when I've looked into it, because my dad's in that internet hellhole, it's like you pay for the dish the price has changed because it's one of those early adopters things. $700 for the dish, the receiver, and then it's a subscription service that you're paying like monthly fees, and they get you a certain bandwidth. I would guess maybe there's different plans even for like faster speeds, but so it seems odd to me that I guess he's just providing service to Russians.
And that article Woody linked, it says that SpaceX has said that the people selling those in Russia are scamming them and that they don't work in Russia.
Oh.
And I don't know.
They might be using them in Ukraine? ?
I have no idea. This is the first I've heard of any of this. But Starlink as a whole is kind of cool. Like it's going to be great when it's awesome everywhere. Can you imagine?
I think it's awesome most places. Like I think they're almost there. Have you seen how many there are? Like I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen the graphics and all that shit, and it seems like a lot, but it's also
like it's like thousands of them.
Of satellites.
Yeah, I've seen. I can't see it with my naked eye, but maybe it was a good lens. But you can see they're in a band, moving around it's like this one followed by that one followed by that one. You can see them in this like very straight line moving.
How do they decide who gets like rights to space real estate? Because what if some
there was we signed the powers that be had a whole talk about space and decided when they decided they couldn't ended the nuclear testing in space, right? I know they've decided
is that just America and Russia? Like, because who else could do that shit?
Yeah,
China, I guess. Okay, can India?
Well, if we're talking about launching satellites, anybody can launch a fucking satellite, obviously.
What was the exact question, Taylor? Can India?
I was meaning like Kyle was like, oh, the powers that be kind of decided, sliced up the bits in the celestial realm up there. And I was like, oh, well, the powers that be, when they decided that, must have literally been like, all right, here's a Russian guy and an American guy, and they're deciding.
Probably so.
And I know maybe now with other countries, they're going to be pissed.
Well, whenever there's actually the technology to go up there, like that show Woody and I like for All Mankind.
Mm-hmm.
If it was like going to the wild, to California back in the day, if it was an arduous trip, but yeah, we can all do it. It's not a big deal. We just go. It's hard, but we get there. Then we might be like, yeah, that treaty was from 1967 when we decided that no one owns the moon. Turns out we kind of do own the moon, 'cause we're here and we have anti-space guns, so you can't land on the moon anymore. And so now we have to blow up their anti-space guns on the moon. And now we have a moon war, which is not done enough in sci-fi. Moon
there needs to be something on the moon worth fighting for.
Just real quick, I fact checked. India landed on the moon last year.
Yeah, little rover
not with people though. Doesn't count. We are so far past giving a shit about a robot landing on the moon. India shouldn't even get props for that.
India said no sooner than 2040. They did say by 2040.
Their plan to go to the moon again is upsettingly stupid. There's so many rockets involved. Our plan.
Okay.
Our plan. Like there's so many rockets involved with getting all the fuel up into space to like couple that bitch up. It makes me wonder how they did it the first times. It's like, dude, damn, there was technology. Shame we threw away all those rockets from the 60s.
I guess they don't want to do it in a tuna can this time around. Like a
fuck that.
Bunch of, like a ball of tinfoil.
Nah, it's bullshit, dude. I'm not buying it. They're like, we're building a more spacious. We want more leg room. That's all. That's why it's taking an extra 50 years to do it.
Like, what the fuck? In 1969, you went there with tinfoil and string. Like, and we can't do it now.
It was very dangerous.
Saw the Tom Hanks
saved the other characters and became president.
That's was a TV show. Apollo 13 is one of the all-time greatest space movies. That
is a movie, Kyle. You can't believe it.
It's a movie.
That shit happened though. That shit happened. I love Tom Hanks up there.
All over my scene.
I can't remember which astronaut it was. They had to calculate their own reentry and maybe paint on the glass and use that to like get themselves home.
That's a movie?
Right? I know it's happened in a movie, but it happened in real life too. Like it's based on a real thing that I think a Russian did.
That a guy did who's doing math up there and had to.
A friend of mine flew.
I'm gonna find it.
There's a discontinued kind of helicopter that the Army uses. It's like a Yahweh or does anyone know their helicopters?
I know Apache, and that's it.
This is like it's more silent and not as cool or advanced. But anyway, it can shoot missiles. So the way that they did it is they shot missiles and they watched them. Then they took a grease pin on their windshield and used that as their target.
Interesting.
Yeah. They just retired this thing like 3 years ago.
That's pretty ingenious. Very smart.
It's pretty low tech.
But it's to think of something like that in the
Iron Sights version with a helicopter. Yeah, that's what they do.
So Kyle, you don't think we're going to the moon in the 2020s now? Oh, you're muted, my friend.
No, I told you. No, we're not going in the 2020s. You know what? It will take finding a resource there or a military advantage there, or it will take a very motivated president. Like it'll take an individual. It will take a guy who's like, man, space is my jam. Space is my fucking jam.
Why doesn't Elon Musk go personally to the moon to flex on everybody?
You'd have to ask him. I think he's got his own plots and plans, right?
No one's going to the moon right now. Oh, by the way, that helicopter is called a Kiowa. For the six of you that cared what it was called.
There's some helicopter out there who's like, yes.
Like, I want to know what helicopter he's talking about. What the fuck is a Yahweh? That's God in Jewish or something.
Named after the Kiowa Indian tribe, of course.
Yes. Kind of insulting. We named them after
Apache,
Indians.
Comanches, you didn't say a word. You hear Kiowa and suddenly you're not so happy.
Yeah. Well, it's more disrespectful. It's kind of flexing on them, right? It's like they didn't know they never figured flight out. And now
we're gonna name all our fucking fences. Like, look, we named this fence Apache after the people who chased buffaloes around for centuries.
You know those like pretty cool Stone Age tribes that we dominated. Fucking 4 games in a row, swept the Indians. It wasn't even close.
We named this wheel Neanderthals. They didn't have that.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
or Cro-Magnon. Maybe that's I don't know. Whatever.
Cro-Magnon, Neanderthal. All the old ones, all the hits, the classic humans.
I like those Hobbit people of Indonesia. I think those are by far the coolest people. No. The Hobbit people of Indonesia that they found. It was an offshoot of the human race. It was one of our cousins, like the Neanderthal were.
You know who I like? The Sentinel Island people. If I have my history right, like 150 years ago, people from the mainland brought them disease. And since then, they don't understand disease. They don't get it. They're a very primitive tribe. Everyone knows the Sentinel Island. There's barely any contact with civilization. And it doesn't matter what you do, they won't be your friend. You can show up and give them buckets of oranges, live pigs, dead pigs. Doesn't matter. If you get within spear throwing distance, they will kill you every fucking time. And so many people have tried to bribe their way into a relationship with them. They take your shit and fire bows.
You give me a sword and plate armor, and I can conquer Sentinelese Island. The three of us in plate mail run roughshod over the Sentinelese.
What would actually be the... I don't want a sword. I think I'd get my ass kicked. I'd get
down.
Fatigue would be our enemy.
If I don't have a gun, I'm not going. Like you don't want to go with a rifle, and you do want some kind of fucking arrow armor because they are going to shoot arrows at you.
Yeah.
How about one of those bomb suits, an AA-12 and a sit and spin?
They're gonna fucking be all over you. They're gonna pin you down.
They're gonna the sit and spin. They can't get behind you.
Have they ever?
They're gonna burn you alive in that suit.
Have they ever been shot at ever?
I go out there every weekend, dude.
They
don't fucking learn. International waters are a bitch.
You're just piecing them up on their shit.
It's hard to hit them with the waves chopping, but they don't run so good.
I think we need to take Sentinelese Island from them unless they can demonstrate they're doing something with it.
They're lucky there's nothing there we want.